Hello. Um, Welcome to Miranda's Insights, again here in Thailand. And today, thought we would talk about the solution to painful emptiness is finding a sweet emptiness. And I just came back from a 7-day Buddhist insight meditation retreat, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about that so you understand what that is. So it's a silent retreat where everything, your whole lifestyle, is slowed down to about half or 3 times as much as it usually is in life. And so there's no contact with the outside world. And you have all your meals, yoga in the morning, and meditations, walking meditations, and lectures, some downtime. And really, it's an opportunity for people to develop their concentration ability, and then once they get to a concentrated state through the breathing technique, then there's this spaciousness with just observing, waiting for insights to arise. And that's what I got out of it. I did get a beautiful insight during this retreat. And as we were talking the last time, I was talking about this emptiness that I feel and that's been chasing me, and perhaps chasing most people. And I wanted to get to the bottom of it, because it's a kind of a painful emptiness that drives us to be very busy, to find distractions, to not want to be alone, to not want to feel what really is here. And it's kind of a scary place to be. And something that I got in this retreat was during one of the lectures, and it really inspired me, and it's this topic of being a non-self. It's a kind of a Buddhist approach, but it's designed to help us, free us from the sense of suffering that we all experience. And I really like it, because it triggered something in me. Whereas subconsciously, although I'm always working to be not this self here, but to expand myself into a large, sort of free self, I think that this point really honed in on how we can miss this sense that everyone's got a sense that I'm a self. And then because we have this sense that I'm a self, then we think we have to improve it or do something about it or manipulate it or become something more than what we are. And it's either a self that's not good enough, or it's a self that's good enough or should be better, or some kind of a self. But what I got out of this was just that whole discussion about that everything in nature is constantly changing. There is absolutely nothing that stops changing. So say, for instance, like we look at a flower, use as an example. Like, it comes from a seed, and there's a constant change and movement. It's growing, it's multiplying, it's separating, and then it's coming together, and then it's dissolving again, and then forming, and it looks like it's coming into a form, but then within seconds or whatever, it changes form. It's the same way when you look at, say, birds in the sky, and they're flying, they kind of come together, and then they fly off, and they change, and then they come together, and it looks like, oh yeah, this is the perfect form, let's just try to keep this form. But then, because it's nature, everything is constantly in flux and changing. So there's never really a point in the life of anything in existence that is it. Like, that is, okay, now this is it. This is the perfect, let's try to keep this. Like, we, in our sort of artificial world, we're always trying to like take a picture. So, okay, this is the perfect scene. Or we're working on ourselves, and I'm going to be I'm going to be the best yogi, so I'm going to do my yoga practice. I'm going to manipulate my body. I'm going to manipulate my breath. I'm going to work, and then I'm going to get to this perfect pose. And it's so funny because here we are. I'll use myself as an example. I'd be doing my yoga practice, and in my yoga practice, I'm there with my perfect concentration, my perfect breathing, my perfect balancing, and then all of a sudden a mosquito comes along, and I'm there in a perfect balanced pose, and the mosquito bites my leg, and then my attention goes to the mosquito, and I lose my pose. And so my question here is, what is actually a self that's going to stay perfectly that way? There's nothing in nature that stays the same. This is what I'm getting, is that I can't strive. Like, all my striving is in vain. There's nothing to get, because as soon as I get, it's going to change again. So this, I think, is the bottom of the emptiness, is the illusion that I can get something. Because I think we're constantly facing that even if I get it, like even if I'm successful, I'm only successful for a few moments. And what is that success? I just lived up to an idea of myself, temporarily for 2 seconds, and then wow, I got this kind of great sense of we, but then it changes again. So I think that's the emptiness that I feel, that you feel, that we all feel. And so the sweetness that I got from all of this is the change. When I focus on the change, as opposed to me being a person that's going to become something that I want to be, I'm going to shift it from me, because I'm not really a formed self. I'm a changing phenomena. That's what I am. If there's any I, the I is constantly changing. I'm a changing phenomena, like nature is constantly changing. Life is changing. Nothing in life stops changing. So how can I, which I'm part of life, be stopped? So I can't. So instead of me trying to work and manipulate myself to be a solid, perfect something, instead of putting my attention on this solid thing, I'm going to put my attention on the fact that it's constant change. So I'm going to follow the changing. And there's no me, but there's constant change, there's constant dynamism, there's constant flux. And my attention on that as the truth, as the underlying reality of who I am, Remember, I'm not even a self that can be solid. So this is the sweetness, the beauty that can be experienced, instead of thinking that I failed, that I didn't achieve my ideal, perfect ego self image. But no, I am in constant flux. And now as I focus on the flux, the change, the dynamism of everything, there's a flow, there's a soft oozing flow that comes. And it's like there's no me here that's trying to hold on to anything. It's like, oh, I can go with this flow. I can move with this. This is the beauty. So anyway, this is my insight here, and you can see here there's a few beautiful things. I'm just going to turn this around so you can see something. I'm going to turn this around. You can see over there, there are some alligators. Let's see now if I can turn this around. No, I can't. Anyway, that's the beautiful thing here too, is watching the alligators. Okay. So, thank you for watching me again today in my latest insight, and I'm going to go on another retreat in another 5 days, so I will send again another video for you in my latest insight after that. So if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. And so focus, this is what you can do, is focus, instead of you becoming something special or important or trying to attain to be the best of anything, don't focus on becoming something. Just focus on the way things are and watch the dynamic change of everything. There's a fluidity, there's a lightness, there's a softness, there's a beauty in that. And you're going to experience not really what we would call a painful emptiness. It's a soft emptiness that is actually very, very fulfilling when we are connected to the truth, the way things actually are. Okay, so see you in the next video. Bye for now.